Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the third session in our 5-Minute Fridays video series, where we've teamed up again with our partners at signNow to bring you relevant content and stories around the platform that goes beyond e-signatures and helps you to automate your document processes to increase your organization's productivity. I'm excited to be back with you again for this session. And again, my name is Stephanie Baskerville. I'm the content writer here at ProServe IT. And once again, joining me on the line is Jordan Hofnagel, our signNow's Senior Partner Marketing Manager. Jordan, it's a pleasure happy to be back with you again on this Friday 5-Minute Fridays video.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So a reminder, folks, that although signNow does help organizations in over 100 industry, for the first 5 episodes in this series, we are focusing on our friends over in the education sector. So of the last 2 videos, we focused kind of on some of the larger institutions. The first week, we talked a little bit about University of Michigan. And then the second week, last week's video, we talked a little bit about Central New Mexico Community College and how those larger or mid-size organizations are using signNow. But this week's video, we wanted to go a little bit more granular and get a little bit more about the individual user process and user perspective, pardon me. So Jordan, I do want to shift the conversation a little bit to how teachers are finding the signNow platform and how they're using it in their daily lives. And I think it's really important, of course, to mention that with the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers all across the globe have had to really adapt and adjust to some pretty gnarly times, and certainly kudos to them to have been able to sort of overcome this and to continue education for students during this difficult time. Can you kind of share with us a little bit about how the teachers that you know of that are adjusting to teaching from home and how they're kind of maybe using signNow to stay connected to their students?
Yeah, definitely. I think each of us is navigating these changes as of late, but teachers especially have a huge responsibility of still, being sure that they're reaching their students of all ages and landing the curriculum with them. So it's been a huge challenge, and they're navigating something brand new. They've never experienced this before. But we do have a really great case study about a first grade teacher, actually, which always makes me smile. And she used signNow to help keep her students on track with reading while, trying to stay connected during this time of distance learning. So she was able to upload a reading log, a weekly reading log that the students had used for the first half of the year while they had been in person. So they knew this log. They had, been filling it out in person with their parents for several months, for 6 months before having to go remote. So she was able to take that exact same log, upload it, digitize it, add the parent initial fields, and then send it off to parents, and even customize the email with some instructions and, expectations for timeline. So the email notifications would then tell her exactly when every parent received and signed and completed those weekly logs. And that helped her really to know exactly who to follow up on, and really make her classroom kind of feel more connected, even though they were no longer in person. So it's definitely a feel-good case study about, little 6-year-olds being able to stay connected with their teacher that they, had a great connection with throughout the school year in person, and feeling like there was a little bit of normalcy in that weekly reading log with her as well.
Oh, that's really cool to hear. I hadn't actually considered that you could use signNow to track assignments, like a reading list. That's fantastic, and a great way to stay connected and to as you said, maintain those relationships. Being able to sort of check in and things like that. So let's kind of talk about some of the other results that teachers are seeing then with signNow, because they're being able to do reading lists and things like that. Certainly, they're able to do other things as well, I would assume.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it can be digitizing reading logs. It can be other assignment trackers. I mean, any sort of document that you would have had a student or a parent fill out, in person and bring back, they're able to digitize that. So that is great. They can reuse those templates as many times as they want. They can bulk send, which also saves a lot of time. And then they can also have that tracking. So they know when those assignments or when those documents are opened and completed with email notifications, and then also that audit trail when the form is completed. So really maintaining that consistent communication with parents and students on a weekly basis, even during a distance learning in this use case, was invaluable to the teacher and to the parents.
And I mean, an audit trail sounds like it would be quite a useful feature for teachers to utilize. And you mentioned the parent side of things too. I want to kind of switch here as well. I mean, obviously the benefit from the teacher side is pretty apparent, but what about from those parents' perspectives? Can you kind of share with us how parents are reacting to being asked to sign for things that they would normally have just been emailed to them or whatever? Like, are they engaging?
Yeah, the parents actually really love it. So it's an easy to use solution, which I know I continue to go back to quite frequently, but it is very easy to access and sign those reading logs or those documents in just seconds. And the parents don't have to have an account, which is really, really great. The teachers, the ones editing the documents and sending them out, have that license, but the parents can then access and complete any document, no login, no prompting, no roadblocks to get those documents signed. And they really like that it's a slightly different and more engaging communication experience than just receiving a status email or receiving, instructions in an email. They can easily and virtually kind of visually help keep their students on track with those reading logs. And there's a sense of accountability with the students when they recognize that reading log. It's something that they have consistently done for 6 months prior. And now it's the exact same flow from home. So without having to track paperwork, without having to return it to the classroom or attach documents, the parents really like that streamlined approach.
For sure. I'm glad to hear that they are finding it an engaging experience. I mean, it sounds to me like it would be. And I think that idea that they don't have to actually have a login or remember a password or anything like that could certainly be quite a benefit for sure, And I would imagine that this sort of makes them feel like they're more of a part of their child's learning process, like they're more connected to that teacher, and they're more connected to what's happening, and it's more interactive in some cases, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Jordan, thanks again for joining me today. That's going to do it for week 3 here for us. I hope that everyone watching learned a little bit more about that signNow platform and maybe a little bit more about that art of the possible. They explored that a little bit for their own organization. Again, we'd like to invite you back next Friday. We'll be chatting our 4th 5-Minute Fridays session, where we'll get a little bit more granular and discuss a case study around another individual user perspective, but this time from the perspective of a coach's lens, which is kind of another interesting, perspective as well. So we're excited about that. Remember to join us. But if you do have questions in the meantime, you can certainly chat with us. We're happy to get the conversation started with you. Email us at cloud@proserveit.com and we'll get that conversation started for sure. But until next Friday, Jordan, I'm going to say thank you so much again for being on the line with me, and to everybody watching, cheers.
Thank you.